me if I just talk in this volume right here? All right. Well, good. Well, first of all, congratulations to all the hikers that climbed up. Way to go.
Thank you.
God graciously helped us up the hill, and we encourage each other along the way. It's just another good thing to do together. So I'm glad you all could come up here too and be together, because this is a beautiful place, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you got this gorgeous view of the Sea of Galilee right in front of us, the Golan Heights directly across from us. That's east, so east to the Golan Heights, right? And then west back to the Mediterranean behind us. So I just want to just introduce the area of Galilee, because this is where we're going to be for the next 4 or 5 days. And we're going to be down there going to various sites all down along the sea and up in the mountains. In a couple of days we'll go over to the Golan Heights to a place called Gamla. So we're going to be in this area quite a bit in the next several days. So I just want to give you just a very brief overview while we're up here, because you can see it all from up here, so that when we go down there you'll know sort of what we're doing. So Galilee is a beautiful place. This place, Galilee, is still below sea level. Wow. I don't know if you knew that, but the Dead Sea is 1,300 feet below sea level, the lowest place on earth. The Sea of Galilee is still 700 feet below sea level. So we're still below sea level. Maybe not up on this mountain, but down by the Sea of Galilee, we're below sea level. And so it's a mild place. It's a comfortable place. There's a lot of fresh water, so there's a lot of farms and greenery and all of that. If you look to the left, this area right here, if you look down at the base of the mountain, there's a lot of farms. This is the name of this place is Gennesaret. Gennesaret. It's a word that means garden or fertility, and the rabbis called it, this area right here, the Garden of God. Bananas, mangoes, grapes, olives, all grown right down there at the base of the mountain. A very fertile area on this northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee, right? This is north and then west. So the northwest corner right here is this plain of Gennesaret, fertile Garden of God. I don't know if you look down there, can you see our hotel? If you look straight out here, there's like a round gray building, which looks like it has a little smokestack on top of it. If you see, there's kind of a round, there's a dock that goes out into the sea, and you follow that dock into the land. There's a gray round building with a little smokestack on it. Keep going left, you see the red roofs of our cottages over there? That's our hotel right there. So we're right on the plain of Gennesaret in that fertile area along the Sea of Galilee. So the ancient rabbis said this about the Sea of Galilee. The Lord has created 7 seas, but the Sea of Galilee is his delight. The Lord has created 7 seas, but the Sea of Galilee is his delight. Beautiful blue water surrounded by green, brown mountains. I don't know, just my humble human opinion, but I think God, if I can say this, knew what he was doing when he decided to come to earth, to come to this place. This is one of the most beautiful places on the whole face of the earth, right here by this fresh water and the Garden of God. And this is where God, when he came to our planet, this is where he came. So it's a beautiful spot, and the rabbis thought so too. So this is a freshwater lake. Fresh water. It's fed by the snow melt of Mount Hermon. The headwaters of the Jordan River are up to the north about 20 miles. You obviously can't see Mount Hermon from here, but at the base of Mount Hermon, there are 3 huge water springs. The headwaters of the Jordan, Dan, Banias, and Hasbani. 3 huge underground water springs, and then the snow melt from Mount Hermon all kind of comes together to form the Jordan River, the headwaters of the Jordan River. The Jordan River flows down into the north side of the Sea of Galilee, and then our bus crossed where it goes out the south side all the way down to the Dead Sea. So as you heard Salah, the local people don't call this the Sea of Galilee. They call it Kinneret. It's a Hebrew word for harp. right? So kind of shaped like a harp, about 15 or 16 miles long this way, and about 7 or 8 miles across. It gets 200 feet deep in some places. So it's a deep, deep lake, and it's surrounded by these mountains. So since the Sea of Galilee is surrounded by these mountains, the sea itself is down in a bowl, right? We're up on the west side, the Golan Heights on that side, it kind of is down in a bowl. So this really is the secret, not the secret, but the explanation for why there can be some really severe storms on this lake. The cool wind and breeze of the Mediterranean comes from west to east. What does cold air do?
Sinks.
It sinks, and then it displaces the warm air, which rises. And so the cold air and the rising of the warm air, and pretty soon you can get a swirling effect down in that bowl. And that there can be some pretty severe waves and storms on that sea. As we know, they're recorded in the New Testament. And Jesus basically yelled at the storm, you know, hey, cut it out. I'm just paraphrasing. But he said that. So in Jesus' day, this lake was teeming with fish. So all along, all these prosperous fishing villages, all around the lake, Capernaum, right? Bethsaida, literally means house of the fishermen. House of the fishermen. Peter, James, John, Andrew, Philip. 5 of the disciples were from Bethsaida, the fishing village. So very prosperous fishing villages. The most prosperous one of all was Magdala. Huge Magdala was the fish processing center and market. And we're going to go to Magdala one of these days, and you'll see it over there. So very prosperous place, fish, agriculture, you name it, fresh water. This is a good place to be, isn't it? And that's the Sea of Galilee. Now, remember in class when I put on the screen the red circle, the yellow circle, the light green circle, the blue circle? Remember that?
Yep.
The reason I tipped the Sea of Galilee over on that map in class is because that's our perspective right now. North is that way, south is that way, east and west. So, in your mind's eye, the red circle is right here. You can circle the northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee. All those, who lives in the red circle? Who lives in the red circle?
The stalwart Jews of, I can't think of the name.
Yeah, of Galilee.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
The religious Jews, right?
Yes, Dave is right. Dave here is saying the right answer. Very conservative, religious, Torah-believing, God-loving Jews lived in the red circle, right? Families, fishing, agriculture, just very conservative people living in this red circle. Jesus spent most all of his time in the red circle. Remember, Nazareth is about 20, 25 miles? Question.
Red circle's northwest?
Right, this corner right here, this northwest corner right here where our hotel is. So Jesus grew up in Nazareth about 20, 25 miles to the southwest. He walked through this valley or wadi of pigeons and then came out right here to the northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee, and that's where he conducted all of his 3-year public ministry in the red circle. All right, so if you look directly across at the Golan Heights over there on this side of the eastern side is the yellow circle. Who lived in the yellow circle?
Zealots.
Zealots. So in the yellow circle are these Jewish zealots, the militant ones, and their city was Gamla. We're going to go to Gamla, also over there in the yellow circle. Over here is Tiberias. You see the city of Tiberias on the hillside? That's the light green circle. That was sort of the, it was the administrative center for Herod Antipas. The capital of Herod Antipas was in Cyprus. That's back by Nazareth. We're going to go there too. But the light green circle right there, basically sort of compromising Jews with Rome, Antipas, secular Jews lived in that light green circle. That we know of, Jesus never went into that light green circle. He never went there. He went as far as Magdala, which is still in the red circle, but not into that one. Jesus also went to the yellow circle, I think. And then if you look over here to this side, on the other side, the Golan Heights down here to the south, that's the blue circle. Who lived in the blue circle?
Those are like our army, kind of like our military heavy Jews, right?
No, that's Gamla. That's Gamla. That's the zealots over here, the militant Jews. Who lived in the blue circle?
The goats, man.
Okay, the
Gentiles.
that's the Decapolis, the Gentiles, the Romans, the Greek culture, called the Decapolis, the 10 cities. Sometimes there were 10, sometimes there were 12, sometimes there were 9, but it's the Roman culture is being imported into this area of the world. It's a very valuable part, prosperous part of the world for the Roman Empire. And so they were importing their culture and their worldview and their architecture and their literature and their philosophy all into that blue circle. And when we go over there, we're going to the blue circle. When we go there, you will see the remains of Roman stuff. Jewish stuff in the red, Roman stuff over in the blue. Did Jesus go to the blue circle?
Yes.
Absolutely. He went, and that's where he exorcised the demon from the Gerasene demoniac. It's in Mark chapter 5, right over in the blue circle. So Jesus spent most of his time in the red, probably went to the yellow, definitely went to the blue, probably never went to the light green. Does that make sense? And we're just in this area, sort of right here. Okay, that's kind of an overview of the land and what we're looking at here. I'm going to find my paper here. Here it is. I just want to read 3 short verses from the Gospels, and then we're going to do something else. Mark 1, verse 35. Mark 1, 35. Goes like this. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. This was part of Jesus', I think, spiritual habit, his spiritual life, the rhythm of his life. Jesus had a rhythm and a spiritual rhythm, waking up early, reflecting, spending time in silence, praying. And where did he go? What does it say? He went to a solitary place to pray by himself. Matthew 14:23. Matthew 14:23. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. What's Jesus doing? What's he doing?
Praying.
He's praying. And he's doing it alone. And he's going to a place where he can spend time with God and reflect and think and ponder and pray and prepare and listen. This is just part of Jesus' daily rhythm. Are you with me? Okay, one more verse. Luke 5:16. Luke chapter 5:16. But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. So each one of the gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, tell us that Jesus had a routine and a rhythm to his life where he would have intense days of teaching, intense days of ministry and healing and crowds of people. You know, when you're in ministry, this is kind of how it goes, right? There are intense days of preaching and teaching and ministry and crowds of people and responsibilities and things to do. Was Jesus busy? Was Jesus focused?
Yeah.
Did he rise to the occasion and meet those challenges in those ministry? Of course he did. But then what did he do?
He rested.
He had to rest.
He withdrew. And in a way, Jesus said, I got to take care of my own soul. I know he's God, but I got to take care of my own body. I need rest. My mind, my heart, my soul, my spirit. I got to take care of myself and my soul and my spiritual life. So I'm going to go off alone and I'm going to pray. Pray about the ministry. Pray about the people. Pray over these villages. Now, I can't prove it, because it doesn't say exactly that in the Bible, but if you put 2 and 2 together, I like to think that Jesus came right here. It says he went to a mountain. It says he went alone. What better place than right here? So that Jesus could look over this northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee, all the villages, Magdala, Capernaum, Bethsaida, even see over to the Decapolis and Gamla. And Jesus praying over the villages, praying over the people, thinking about the ministry that he would engage in the next few days. Does that make sense? And that's just how Jesus did it. And so he withdrew to worship and to reflect. So,
Sorry.
it's okay.
It's your kids in your audience usually in church, okay? These are the kids.
I know. I had a seminary professor who said, just keep going no matter what's going on in the congregation. Just keep going, man.
But you
So
didn't.
if there's kids fighting, just keep going.
We're crying, we're screaming.
So here, everybody listen. If this was the place where Jesus worshiped, and now we're here, what might be the most appropriate thing to do?
Worship here.
How about if we spend time? How about if we worship? How about if we meet with God in this place? Would that be okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Awesome. Then let's do that. And Jeff's going to lead us in a time of just worship and reflection as we worship God together.
And by worship, he doesn't mean I'm going to sing. That's not my gift. Psalm 63, if you want to turn there. So Dan told me I had 10 minutes.
No.
You know what that means, right?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, more.
As it starting to rain.
An hour. So, Psalm 63. We read just a couple of opening verses yesterday. One of the desert psalms. We're probably only going to do the first 5 verses. And the practice that we're going to do is called Lectio Divina. It's a prayer practice that really comes, 500-600 years after the time of Jesus it's developed. But it's based on the Jewish practice called Haggadah, which is very similar, and there's just some kind of steps to it. So the steps typically go, there's a bunch of varieties of it. Steps typically go silence. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in silence. Then the Lectio, which is the reading. I'll read the text, and when you do this, it's read slowly, methodically, and intentionally. And then there's meditatio, which you can figure out from the Latin. Meditatio is where we get the word meditation. So we'll meditate silently on the text as you've heard it, as you've read it. And then there's the contemplatio, contemplation. And that's where we can actually, if there's anything that someone is connected with someone, you can share with the group. Contemplation and meditation are a little bit different. And then many, not all, but many times, there's the action part. So the go and do. So what I want us to do is read Psalm 63. I'm going to read the first 5 verses slowly and deliberately after a little time of silence as the rain drops on us. And then I want us to spend a little time in meditation on that. And then if there's anything anyone has to share, and if you don't have something to share, that's fine, we'll do that. And then I'm going to read it again slowly, and then if it's not boring by that point, I would encourage us to kind of go off and do a little meditation again in a solitary place, away from other people. Does that sound good? All right. Psalm 63, a psalm of David when he was in the desert of Judah. You, God, are my God. Earnestly